Good afternoon, Mr. Haussman. How may I help you?
Hi, this is my first time checking into this hotel. Funny though, got this real strange sense of deja vu. It's like I've been here before, but everything is different. You know, like I've been doing this for years, but it's all suddenly new and improved.
Yes, sir. Will you still be a total letdown as a podcast host? Or perhaps this time you'll have something smart to say.
Well, thanks for the vote of confidence. I guess you'll have to tune in to find out.
Do you live, eat, and sleep the hotel industry? Looking to brush up on your game? You've come to the right place. Welcome to No Vacancy, the hospitality industry's #1 podcast, with your host, Glenn Haussman.
Hello, and welcome to No Vacancy. My name is Glenn Haussman, and I am absolutely thrilled to have you here with me today. Why? It's my first show. I love a series of firsts, and for me, this year has been a lot of first things. I started a new career, I've started a new business, and I've started working as editor-at-large with Hotel Management, putting out 2 great columns a week for them. But what I really most like is having an opportunity to talk directly to you, the folks out there that love the business of travel, that love the hospitality industry, and the folks out there that are also making it a career. This is going to be a new kind of show for me, blending the things that the consumers love about travel with a behind-the-scenes look at how this amazing industry operates. If you don't know me, again, wait, starting over, 3, 2, 1. If you don't know me, I've been doing a podcast for about 4 years, but I changed my jobs recently. I'm trying to control my own destiny, start a new chapter of my life, and that means having to start a new podcast. And I hope that you guys could spread the love, spread the word, get it out there that we are doing this show. So I really look forward to this being somewhat of a celebration of all things hospitality. But it's also going to be a great forum for us to poke and prod everyone in the business to make sure they not only do a better job servicing their customers, but also excel in their careers, right? So we're going to be approaching it from 2 different tracks. I really want to try to bring together the worlds of consumers and the world of trade and make them come together. You can see me doing that already in the stuff that I write for USA Today, but mostly I want you to read my columns twice a week at hotelmanagement.net, where I am serving as editor-at-large. And follow me on Twitter at TravelingGlenn, and you'll get notified whenever new articles are posted. So a little bit more about the show. What can you expect? What you can expect is a lot of fun, and hopefully we'll be serious, but don't take things too seriously. That means keeping it upbeat, light, fun, having some laughs, and to do that, I'm going to have a regular series of rotating guest hosts. For this show, I'm talking to you alone, just me, just you, your earphones, iTunes, making it all happen. But in the future, you can expect me to have a lot of interplay during the first segment of our show with other industry professionals, a regular rotating series of guest hosts, so to speak. I've got Dave Eisen, who's going to be a regular on the show. You can find him at DaveEisen3 on Twitter. And he is editor-in-chief over at Hotel Management. I love dealing with him, and it's fun working with him on lots of different projects. I have a chance to really speak with him about all the issues that are affecting us on a much more deeper level because he really understands the trends that are going around. Also, we'll be speaking a lot with Mr. Bruce Ford. You can find him on Twitter at BFINNH. That's BFINNH. That's Bruce Ford in New Hampshire. And he's great because we always have a lot of fun, and he will try to find out how many ways he could try to bring me down. That's right. Bruce Ford's job is to try to make fun of me, keep me real, keep it legitimate, and also instill us with lots of great information. We'll have a lot of other guest characters as well, and as we go on with this series, it will develop, but expect the first part of the show to have a lot of fun interplay between me and one of the regular series of guest hosts. After that, after a great commercial break, and I know you guys love commercials because someone around here has got to pay the bills, and I don't want it to have to be you. That being said, feel free to donate anytime. I'm happy to take your money. But the second half of the show is going to have in-depth feature interviews with lots of great and interesting people. For example, in upcoming weeks, you can expect to hear from industry, hotel, brand leaders. You can expect to hear from the presidents, the CEOs of the major hospitality companies out there. Also, we'll be chatting with people that I find to be highly interesting in the industry, people that are making a big difference in the industry, and anyone that can give us great insight as to where the industry is going and how we could all maximize our success in this business. The fact of the matter is the travel industry is great. It's so much fun, and I want to get out there and I want to spread the love. And speaking of spreading the love, I plan to have a lot of other interesting personalities as well. When I go to Las Vegas, I'll be interviewing Las Vegas headliners. When I go to Orlando, maybe I'll have a chance to interview Goofy. I don't know. He's got a lot of tough press people out there. I'm not sure I could get him on the line, but you never know. So each week we're going to have a lot of great fun, but I might tend to aggravate people from time to time because my mantra to you is I plan to tell it like it is, or at least the way that I see it. You may see it differently, and that's great. And if you do disagree with me, that'd be awesome, because that's what this is all about, having a great dialogue that makes us all smarter, that makes us all better, and makes us all more successful. For industry insiders, that might mean doing a better at your job. For the folks that are coming on the consumer side that want to learn more about this business, I am going to arm you with plenty of information that gets you smarter about the way you travel. I know there's a lot of road warriors out there that love the business of travel, and I'm designing the show to appeal just to you. But one of the things I want to talk about today, and every day we'll try to hit up a different topic, I want to complain to you about how I feel about the state of hospitality when it comes to my generation, Generation X. Yes, that's right. I'm talking about us folks that have been forgotten by society. That's right. There's millennial madness going on out there, and nobody seems to care about us, Generation X. I remember Simple Minds said it best, "Don't you forget about me." Now, I would sing that for you, but I'm going to spare you. I'd like to get listeners in the first show, not turn off listeners, right? All right, so while that was sage advice in the Breakfast Club era, I'm really talking about the whole generation. I'm starting to feel in the hospitality universe, we have been entirely forgotten about. Nobody likes us anymore. Nobody cares about us anymore. Why? You guys are on to a new generation. I feel like I've been cast aside like an aging Hollywood starlet in favor of a younger, prettier generation. And you know who you are. You're that trophy generation. Oh, those younger, upwardly mobile, tech-savvy millennials. Everyone's fawning all over them, and I just don't understand why. You know, think about me. Think about my generational brethren. We've been with you, hotel industry, in up times, through major downturns. Remember that first time I stayed with you and paid you a good rate back in the day, but you don't seem to care about me anymore. Why? I simply don't understand. Hey, you know what? My generation brought the style to lifestyle hotels. We helped you realize that floral bread spreads are an abomination. Would a millennial do that for you? I do not think so. I'm not sure they're going to look up from their smartphone long enough to tell you what you need to hear. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of being cast aside. I'm sick of being taken for granted for another group. All right. Truth is, I'm jealous and maybe a little bit envious too, because I remember the good old days when I was younger. Maybe not sexier, but definitely younger, and the hotel brands out there would try to woo me. Now they're trying to woo those younger folks, and it makes me sad. I think, though, that fawning over millennials, however, is a huge mistake, and that's really going to become evident over the next decade. And I'm not really sure why the industry hasn't awoken to this realizations, right? All that we're being told is millennials seem to be a real fickle bunch, and they don't have brand loyalty. That's what everyone is saying in terms of all these fancy surveys and studies that are out there. So trying to win their permanent affection is something like Anthony Michael Hall thinking he'll win the affection of Molly Ringwald in the Breakfast Club. Ain't gonna happen. But the one thing that also strikes me, Art, is why are we trying to claim that this particular generation, the millennials, Generation Y, call them what you will, why are we so shocked that they're not brand loyal? They're in their 20s. Who in their 20s and early 30s is really extremely brand loyal? I recall when I was that age, I was busy out there experiencing things, seeing what I loved, seeing what I wanted to enjoy, seeing what I wanted to do with my life. And now that I'm in my mid-40s, I have the brands that reflect who I feel I am as a person. But I didn't have that when I was younger, right? All right, so we got these millennials. They're all staying in your hotels. Everybody's sucking up to them. They're doing all sorts of stuff to appeal specifically to that generation. But I'm finding that it's a major red herring. It's confusing people. And I think by fawning over one generation, it's sending the hotel industry down a path of self-destruction. That's right. I'm warning all of you folks out there. Because what's going to happen 10 years from now? It's going to be 2026. And all those hipsters out there have traded in their skinny jeans and aggressive facial hair for families and a sedan with a high safety rating from Consumer Reports, right? I've seen a commercial that was like that on TV, as a matter of fact. And I'm curious, will they still want those smaller guest rooms you're claiming that we want? Will they still want active lobbies to hang out in? Will they still not want any bathtubs in their rooms? I don't know. They're all going to have toddlers, and they're going to be wondering what happened to the bathtubs. Why can't I put my toddler in a bath? And I think that the generation behind them is going to mimic that same behavior as a 26-year-old of today, ensuring your multi-million-dollar investment is protected. You may be telling yourself that, but I'm not so sure about that. I think we found in every single generation, we have our own point of view. For me, I think what hoteliers need to do out there is it makes more sense to examine the macro trends across all aspects of society and don't get caught up focusing on one group that's currently in flux and trying to find their way. You know, if you think about it, brains don't fully form until about 25 years old, right? Now, I think the rental car agencies know this because they won't rent a car to anyone that's under 25 because they're immature. They don't have the ability to think things through in a way that's of depth and understanding that older folks do. And at that point, we start to become like the generations that led before us. What I think the hotel industry needs design product and What I think is the hotel industry needs to design products based on overarching human behaviors that's intergenerational. Otherwise, you guys are just setting yourselves up for future failure and product obsolescence. Think of it this way. If a new hotel brand is announced this morning, it's going to take 10 years for that brand to be built out to appeal towards the millennial generation. By that time, again, they are all too old. So what have you done? You've built yourself into obsolescence before you've even built yourself up. But maybe it's all just about me. It's all just about Generation X. It's all about me wondering why you don't care about us. Why you don't care about me. I feel left out. I'm very lonely. I'm Generation X, and I could really sure use your love. All right, so make sure you follow me on Twitter. That's @TravelingGlenn. And hey, give me that 5-star rating on iTunes. I would love it. Then go out, tell your friends, tell your family, tell random people on the street that you've got to listen to this podcast. One thing I'd really like to do on this show is get you guys actively engaged. And to do that, send me all your thoughts, your comments, your suggestions, and I will answer them on air or write you right back. Send them to Glenn@rouse.media. That's Glenn, Glenn, @rouse.media. No .coms, no .nets, certainly no .edu. You don't need any of that. All right, so now we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we get back, we are going to be speaking with David Downing. A great conversation I had with him all about marketing your destination. He's in charge of St. Pete Clearwater Beach, and what I really like about him is he's a smart, savvy guy, and boy, oh boy, did I have a great conversation with him over a great dinner. So sit back, enjoy yourselves, and make sure you listen to us every single week. Thanks for listening. Have a great time.
Have a question for your host, Glenn? Tweet him now @TravelingGlenn. No Vacancy, the hospitality industry's #1 podcast. We'll be right back.
Get a $50 Best Western gift card when you stay 2 separate times. Plus, enjoy breakfast and free high-speed internet. Rewards members get even more when you book direct at bestwestern.com. Visit bestwestern.com for terms and conditions. Each Best Western branded hotel is independently owned and operated.
Yeah, so, I'm loving being here at the Mill, eating all this different food and all that. So, guys, I'm at this great new restaurant here in St. Petersburg, Florida, the Mill. And it's been named one of the best restaurant in Florida by who?
Best new restaurant in the state of Florida by Florida Trend. It's basically the statewide magazine. Got their Golden Spoon Award this year. It's been here about 9 months, and it's killed ever since it opened.
Nice. Well, I'm having a great time. We got this great charcuterie platter in front of us that I will be munching on throughout. I have not done a podcast over a meal in a long time, so I'm really looking forward to it. For those of you listening, I got David Downing here with me. He's the executive director of Visit St. Pete Clearwater. How are you tonight?
Great, man. Two words here at the meal: octopus bacon. It's to die for.
Oh yeah. I have not had that yet.
Right.
I have octopus bacon in front of me.
You go ahead, Glenn.
So I'm going to go and have a little bite of that right now.
Nice.
And I know everyone listening loves hearing me eat.
And it's not a bacon product.
It is not.
Right? It's just octopus.
That's really delicious. I love it. I always said I should get a Food Channel show because I could go, better than a lot of those other guys. I feel like, they need somebody that could really up the wow, that tastes good factor.
Someone needs something bigger than BAM.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, bigger than BAM. Right. And I don't
know if you can get bigger than BAM, but I'd like to give it a shot. So what I love about this is while I'm recording this, it's the beginning of March, and it is absolutely spectacular weather. And I've had a chance to go around here. I'm working on a couple of projects and really see what this town is all about. And I'm really pleasantly surprised, and it starts making me think about, how is it that you're able to compete out there? Because it seems like there's so many great sun and sand type destinations.
Sure.
So how do you break through that clutter and really get people to understand what you're all about?
You know what, Glenn? You touched on something that's exactly right. Not just here, but also the world over, because we travel a lot to promote St. Pete Clearwater. But
you're going to Berlin right after this conversation.
Leave Berlin in a couple of days. But there's two things most of the world knows about Florida. It's M&M. It's Mickey in Miami.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
then after that, it's like here monsters lie. There's no real concept of, or even geographically,
right,
what Florida is. So this has been good for us because it's an educational opportunity for us to let people know. So here we are sitting in downtown St. Pete. This was named just a few years ago one of 52 places to go in the world by the New York Times. And the part I like is...
Wait. One of the top 52?
52 places to go in the world. It's a list they do every year.
That's an amazing accomplishment.
It's a huge thing.
Because you're up there with like Monaco and Hawaii and lots of other amazing places.
Yeah. And they choose each one for a different reason. And the thing I liked about this is we are a beach destination.
Right.
We just had TripAdvisor last week named Clearwater #1 beach in the U.S., St. Pete Beach #4 in the U.S., Clearwater #20 in the world. But the nod we got from the Times didn't mention beaches. They mentioned this dining scene. We're sitting here, open air, beautiful. There's palm trees straight above us, stringing lights above us like an Italian courtyard. These flame holders just for looks,
right,
I think, because it's about 70 degrees out.
And for the record, it is not keeping me warm. Yeah. I'm from New York. I do not need it. Maybe the Floridians over there do, but not me.
It's for effect only, But, it really is this incredible mixture of things. St. Pete Clearwater, we are 24 cities. It is a peninsula on a peninsula. There's water everywhere you can look. But we have these cultural, these offerings that really add to the beach component. So it's kind of, double trouble. It's a twin threat to tourism, and it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I love that. There seems to be so much more to do here than I expected. So what are some of the things that you do in order to get that word out? Now, I'm going out for people that want to come here and visit, but I'm also want to talk about the inside type of stuff, because that's what I find most interesting is how you're able to connect with that customer and get them to understand what a great destination this is.
First of all, it has to be authentic. Whatever we say or we do, it really has to be authentic. That message has to resonate as true when people come to visit. The first thing you can do, the kiss of death in tourism or in promotion is doing something that's not true. So we go back to our core. Why do people come here? How long have people been coming here? Just 3 miles from here, Weeden Island. Native American artifacts, pre-Columbian history going back 2,000 years.
Wow.
The oldest dugout ever found was found just 2 miles from where we're sitting right now.
When I think about traveling around the United States, I don't actually think about things being old. I consider anything 50, 60 years to be old. That's really legit.
And from the Spanish explorers on, we just had this place is 125 years old. Founded by an American businessman and a Russian businessman who brought the railroad over from the east coast of Florida. And I'm pretty glad the Russian won because they flipped to decide who got to name it. And the Russian was from, of course, St. Petersburg, Russia.
Oh.
And the American businessman was from Detroit. So we were really close to being called Detroit, Florida. That's true. It's a true story. But then, you fast forward and you consider what is birthed here. I mean, 2 blocks from where we are, believe it or not, was the birthplace of Wikipedia.
Really?
Yeah. just two blocks from this very place we're sitting here on Central Avenue. It's the birthplace of commercial aviation. The very first ever scheduled air service was between Tampa and St. Pete. We just celebrated 100th anniversary of that in 2014. So, birthplace of spring training. We've been spring training here for 100 years.
That's absolutely amazing.
So, I mean, in addition to all these things you think about beaches and leisure destination, birthplace of Hooters on top of that, too.
Right.
Hooters is from here, all these things. Raymond James, PolitiFact
Right.
is from here, the Poynter Institute. So it gives us a lot to work with.
So you have a lot to work with. So how do you
Yeah.
get that message out? How are you able to connect with the consumers?
Well, we do it differently in different markets. We do it digitally, online, national campaigns we have going on right now. We do a lot of national public radio here domestically. We have a national campaign going on in the United Kingdom. I'm leaving next month for China. We're doing a Chinese campaign with Brand USA. So it depends on which platform, which country, which time, and which audience.
Well, I think Brand USA has done a really great job.
Yeah.
They really were helped. They were the result of legislation being put through Congress to actually, get some stuff out there in terms of promotional dollars to finally, for the first time ever, market the United States as a viable destination for people overseas. Now, I think that's shocking to a lot of folks listening right now who might not have realized that we never actually advertised before.
And hats off to Roger Dow and U.S. Travel Association for birthing Brand USA. Isn't it unbelievable that we were the largest developed country that didn't have a national tourism board?
I think that goes to some of that American hubris that we might have.
It does. We just think we're American. Everyone wants to come here. You know what? People have to be reminded. That's all marketing is reminding people of the plethora of options they have if they come to visit in the U.S.
Well, I've not heard of a lot of destinations such as yours going after that Chinese market. So what is your strategy there? How does that work?
Well, look, we're sitting again right here. We are 90 miles from the number one tourism destination in the world, Orlando. And we're on the Gulf Coast. We offer something very different from Orlando. It's not a competitive set. We're a complementary set.
Right.
So, part of our strategy is, hey, we know they're going to come to Orlando.
Right.
We're going to tag on to an Orlando vacation, just come 90 miles this way. So it's kind of a 1-2 punch. It's an A-B scenario where A is Orlando, B is here. That's the very beginning of it. And once word gets out, we just tonight met with Condé Nast China is in town. The writer from Condé Nast China. We've been here for 4 days. Met her, that discussion, and they're doing a piece on aspirational, of course, because Chinese audience don't know who we are. So it's getting it out piece by piece, word by word, person by person. It takes a lot of work.
And what's amazing to me is just how incredibly the Chinese market has grown in terms of visitation. There's if a little factoid out there. There's so many middle-class Chinese now. They're about the size of the American population, and all of these people are leaving the country and exploring new destinations. And now is the chance to get some of that front of mind awareness in order to get them to come over here.
You're exactly right. You have to be on the ground level because once the floodgates open, once we have true volume of Chinese visitation, and a lot of things have to happen for that. We have to have air service. We have to get the right product. Even the hotels have to have the right foods and the breakfast buffet to really woo a Chinese audience.
It's funny you should say that. I was just thinking that. You have to make sure that the hotels appeal to that traveler. When I went over to China a couple of years ago, they had the congee that was great, but I want my bacon and eggs too.
Exactly. So it's the same thing. People want what they want. But that is part of the plan, is to get all these things, get in early so we get it right. You have to get it right, and then to get it right, it takes a little time. So that's what we're doing with China and St. Pete Clearwater.
That's fascinating to me. And are you seeing a result and Chinese coming over yet, or are you still at the beginning of this effort?
Glenn, this is a long-term process. For example, we opened an office in Germany 33 years ago.
Right.
People thought we were a little bit crazy. What are you doing in Germany? Germans don't come to St. Pete. They do now. They do in huge numbers. It's our number 2 international market. So we saw an opportunity then. We have the same forward thinking now, and this is something that will pay off as well. When you look at, 130 million visitors, or 1.3 billion residents, even if you get 10% of that visiting the United States, and even you can get 4% of that 10%, the numbers are staggering.
It really is staggering. So are you doing anything here in town to kind of bring the hotel and restaurant communities together in order to get on the China page?
It is. It is a very step-by-step, pretty elementary process of education. of letting them know what we're doing, why we're doing it, what their opportunities are, what would be required of them to make this successful. Look, we can go out there and advertise all we want, but like I said earlier, unless it's authentic, unless you know what you're pushing and what you're pushing is accurate and you're placing it and you're positioning it in an accurate way, and once they get here and they realize that is accurate, unless you got all that lined up, it's all for naught.
Right. It also has to be done through the sense of security and safety and comfort. Because I recall the first time I went to Europe, I looked for a major American branded hotel so I would feel comfortable and safe because it was unfamiliar, not because it was dangerous.
Like even this, for example, I'm going to China, like I mentioned, next month. And, one of the people we were going with mentioned, Facebook ads, and I'm like, well, there's no Facebook in China.
Right.
You have to. So it just basic things, you have to get it right.
I love it. But the other challenge that you have is trying to figure out how to get that message through when there's so many CVBs around the country. How do you break through the clutter there?
Well, I believe in getting on the ground level. Establish a relationship early. Get them front of mind. Get them dreaming about these beaches. Introduce the culture to our culture. Do it respectfully. Do it smartly. And then you have an upper edge. You have an upper hand. You have an advantage when all of the others come sailing in behind you. You were there. You know the players. You've been working with them for a while. So it's basically business 101. It's relationships. Start early. Get in there and have a product to back it up.
Wow. I mean, that seems kind of simple, but I find that a lot of destinations don't really have it down.
Yeah, they don't. But, look at St. Pete Clearwater is the number one tourism destination on the Gulf of Mexico in the United States. We have more visitors here than any destination on the Gulf, about 15 million every year.
That's a surprising number. I had no idea it was that much.
Including day trippers, 15 million every year. It's a county of about 1 million people. So it's a county steeped in hospitality. They get it. Everybody here gets it. When we see visitors and, our restaurants are full or the beach is full or there might be a little extra traffic, people here understand. There's a reason Florida doesn't have an income tax, and it's tourism. One of 5 states in the U.S. that don't have a personal income tax, and it's tourism. So people who live here, who understand it, get it, and that's we count on that support.
All right. So the lesson I'm going to take away from this is sell my house in New York, come to Florida for the no income tax.
I know a guy.
Right. But I really love it. But you guys have done some interesting things, too. I think you've had some contests and some interesting partnerships. I think you've done something with Uber.
Yeah, we just finished this big campaign with Uber in Chicago. It was called Warm Up Wednesdays. Every Wednesday in February, we would just, free rides. There was a little splash screen showing our beaches. Hey, we want to get you out of the cold and into a warm Uber, courtesy of Visit St. Pete Clearwater. Everyone was entered to win a trip, and the drivers were too. Every driver who participated was entered to win a trip too. They became our ambassadors. Hugely successful and lots of fun. First destination to do that.
Interesting. So is Chicago a big driver of tourism for you?
Chicago is a huge market for us. And this is interesting, too. So when you look at the state of Florida, I-95 runs down the East Coast. I-75 runs down the West Coast. And to this day, there's a heavier volume of tourism from the eastern United States to Florida because that's what their parents did. They drove down. Americans inherit their vacation activities. They always associated the same place they grew up going on vacation as vacation.
Right.
So to this day, because I-75 runs right from Chicago, right into the heart here, exactly 1,000 miles, we are a greater tourism destination for Chicagoans than the other side of the state. The other one is, spring training. We've been spring training here for 100 years. Just today, just yesterday, we've got the Phillies here. We've got Toronto here. We've got the Yankees over in Tampa.
Which offends me, but I'm a Met fan. But I'm staying at a place right by there. So every day I have to go by it and see the Yankees mocking me.
We appreciate Met fans too. Don't worry.
Well, hey, I'm going to convince them to move from Port St. Lucie over here. I think
Please
this is pretty awesome. And the last time I was down in this area, it must have been about 10 years ago, and I don't think I appreciate it in the same way that I am now. It seems to hit me more. Is it my age, the changes in the market? What's going on over here?
I'll tell you what, at the risk of getting too personal, I think we're in striking distance of each other in terms of age. Yeah,
so 29, forever, baby.
Thank you very much. We can edit that out. No, but it really is. There is just this. It's taking off. We're rated the best city in Florida for millennials. St. Pete Clearwater area. There is a growth of not even just industry but tech. of universities, of higher education. Things are really coming together in this way. You know, the same thing that makes people want to live here makes people want to vacation and vice versa. So the quality of life has been improving, the diversity of the culture has been improving, and getting more complex and more diverse and quite, to be frank, more cosmopolitan. So it's a growth cycle. I think we're in a good place right now. We're looking forward to big things.
I love that idea of the cosmopolitan aspect combined with that sun and sand type of a thing. So I can go out and feel a little bit more sophisticated if I want, but I can still kick off my shoes. A little bit like barefoot luxury.
Every time I turn around, there is another restaurant popping up. A great little Cuban place just up the street from here. A growing number of really authentic, quality Asian restaurants.
And that is not a motorcycle gang that is passing by.
We got some bikes going behind us right there. And on Central Avenue just up the street, come June, we have the largest Pride Parade in the whole Southeast U.S.,
Really?
larger than Miami or Orlando. So
Wow.
the diversity here is truly amazing, and it's something that people always, they say it's just such a chill situation. And chill means, if there's such a great mixture of people here, and I think that's one of its strengths.
Yeah, I'm really liking it a lot, and I wish I didn't have to leave in a couple of days because I'm just totally relaxing, and I'd love to see some of these new hotels that I've seen sprouting out around the area, and you've got something like 2,500 rooms coming online?
2,500 rooms. It's too bad you are leaving because next week we have the Grand Prix of St. Petersburg, Firestone Grand Prix, running right through the streets,
That would have been
3 blocks from
really
here.
cool to see.
We got the Valspar.
That's an annual event.
Yeah, Valspar PGA Classic with Jordan Spieth up in Innisbrook. So yeah, but I mean, it's things like that get us on the radar, that do create the volume and the interest, and do lead to increased hotel development. We do have about 2,500 brand new hotel rooms in development over the next 24 to 36 months.
Wow.
And these are significant. They're mid to higher end. And there's demand for them. Hoteliers don't take chances with their money.
No.
They probably know more about my destination than I do in terms of demographics and who's coming here and why. So I think that really speaks to the power of the brand of St. Pete Clearwater and to the faith that this brand is something that is growing and evolving, and it really is just the beginning of this, I think, this fire that's going to take place about the entire Gulf Coast.
Yeah, to touch on the cosmopolitan thing and bringing it into the hotels, I see a good mix between flagged hotels and independent hotels as well, which signals to me that something interesting and cool is happening here.
Something is, and on top of that, we have a huge condo property and a huge rental. We were the first county in Florida to work with Airbnb, so Airbnb would remit bed taxes directly to us. So we invited them. This is the sharing economy. We work with Uber, the transit system here on parts of the bus system where there's too little traffic to have a bus. They give vouchers for Uber. Over there. So, these things are catching on. It's an incredibly progressive place, incredibly smart place that understands how to make things work in a very confined space. We were talking earlier. It's a little bit like the Manhattan of Florida. It's the most densely populated county in Florida. We have more people per square mile than Miami, but there are places out here in Fort DeSoto and Calabasas Island where you can walk for miles without seeing anyone on the beach.
And I like the energy here a little bit more than Miami. I feel a little bit like I should be buying more black clothing in my wardrobe and being ultra cool when I'm in Miami, but I don't feel that here. I feel very comfortable. I feel at home. I feel like it's a place I could come here to party with my friends or even bring my family.
Más tranquilo.
Yeah.
It's chill.
Yeah.
That's what we hear.
Excellent. Anything else on your mind, David?
It's just to be in this position is exciting as a tourism marketer. There's so much going on. It's a brand that is unknown, and as it becomes more known, it's fun to be part of a brand that is just kind of waking up, and the awareness is growing. It's not like something that people know. And to introduce them, like you and I were just talking here, all these crazy superlatives that make this place what it is, it's a pleasure.
Yeah, you know what I really like about you? You're an amazing interview. I didn't have to work too hard, so thank you very much about that. But I love your enthusiasm. It's really infectious, and I bet you're helping bring a lot of people here because of that energy.
I appreciate that, and I hope you like the IPA as well.
Yes,
right?
yes,
Okay.
which we're going to have to get back to any minute now. I've been neglecting my poor beverage, which is a real shame here. But you know what?
Three Daughters Brewery. We got 22 breweries right here in St. Pete Clearwater.
Yeah, and we got a great list of beers that I was able to choose from. A lot of local brews, and we're here at the Mill, which is really great. We started off the conversation talking about how it's the #1 new restaurant in Florida. Just a taste of the dining scene. Now, I got the ins, Dave, so I know how to get here, David. But if I want to come visit this town, how am I going to do it? What's my best strategy?
I'll tell you what, people are surprised. We got 22 nonstops a day between New York and here. Tampa International has huge connection that way. We have Allegiant flying to 52 cities just in the U.S. alone. So, I mean, any time of year, there's something different going on. It's a city, it's an area that is so event specific, and we from Jazz Fest to the Grand Prix that I talked about, to PGA, to powerboat races, to just down the street, Disney Dali, Architects of the Imagination. We're 5 blocks from the Salvador Dali Museum.
The Salvador Dali Museum is one of the coolest things that I've ever done.
And you know what? I could go on and on. There's just, it depends on what you want. You know, what is someone looking for? If it's anything from Pride to spring training, I tell you what, there's a place for it here.
All right, so you really opened my eyes here. I mean, you know, it seems like whatever I'm into, if you don't have it throughout the year, there's got to be a festival or an event built around it.
There is, and there's a bar or two as well.
Well,
yeah.
I not find my way to those. No
the night's young,
there.
right? We are too, according to you.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so I want the shameless plug. How do we find you?
Visit stpclearwater.com or just liveamplified.com, because that's what we go with as our cry, our marketing cry is encouraging people to live amplified, and however you want to do that, you can find it here.
I love it. Live amplified. You know, that's a good message that we should take even in our vacation life and our personal lives.
You
Live
got it.
life to the max and come to St. Pete, Clearwater. Thanks, David.
Thank you, Glenn. Thanks for having us.
Thanks so much for listening to No Vacancy, the hospitality industry's #1 podcast, with your host, Glenn Haussman, online at rouse.media, on Twitter at Traveling Glenn, and on Facebook.com/Glenn.Haussman. We'll catch you next time.